All right, Mike Franzese is finished. Carlos dug up some stuff today that we're going to put it in the description in the link. So don't take it from us. Whatever you do, don't take anything we say. Read it yourself. And if you're too lazy to read it yourself, we're going to read it for you. He not only cooperated, he talked about his dad on the stand. He talked about he got his 10-year sentence. How much time? What did he really get?
3, no?
He got 10 years. And he got it reduced to 3.
Got it reduced to 3.
He got sentenced in 1986 and got out in 1989. 3 years. He claims I got 10 years. I got 10 years. He cooperated and got 7 something knocked off, right?
Right.
Unbelievable. This guy has lied from day one all the way. And then what else did he say? Oh, Norby Walters.
Right. Yeah.
What was he doing?
He explained how they were extorting and muscling athletes and stuff like that.
Who was he extorting? Didn't it say how they were targeting young black athletes?
Correct. Correct.
And then even went after Michael Jackson.
They went after Michael Jackson, but they couldn't. They got Dionne Warwick though. They had Dionne Warwick on their.
Who's that?
She's a famous African American artist, hell of a singer. Yeah, big time. And
so Mike, hold on. The other day, Mike talks about bullies and how his dad taught him not to be a bully. What do you call it when you go after someone and use your power, whatever it is, to make them sign for you or throw the game for you? Talk about bully. That's all the mob does is bully. That's what they do.
And what was the guy's name? Norby Walters? What was it?
Norby.
Norby Walters. That in his testimony, he would say that Norby Walters would use Michael Francese's name to threaten. You know what I mean? If you guys don't pay up or you don't do what we're saying, then I'm gonna have to talk to Michael. You know what I'm saying? What's that? That's intimidation. That's bullying.
Yeah. But Michael said, well, he had nothing to do with that. But Mike was partners with the guy and he wanted in on the business to go after people. And he knew exactly what was going on.
$50,000, no?
Yeah, gave him, 50,000. They didn't want to carry the cash on him. He had someone else carry the cash. But he was in on shaking down, professional, but they were aiming at young black
African Americans,
coming after athletes coming out of college, putting them in a bad position. And then if you didn't do what they said, what happened? Well, you get kneecapped.
Exactly. And then what he says that he was not the government said that he wasn't a cooperating witness or something like that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It was because he violated parole or something like that. And then
so
since he didn't have any credibility, so they said that he wasn't the government didn't want it
a cooperating witness anymore
because he wasn't believable.
Right. Mike always uses this, you know, he's a fucking master con artist, this guy. He's a master. And he loves it. He can manipulate words. And that's why Sammy the Bull is so pissed off at him, because Sammy knows this guy, this is on Google in the New York Times. This isn't hard to find. This is right there. But what happens is people are so lazy, they just want to hear it. And if they don't see it on YouTube, it's not true. Or they just, you know, they don't feel like reading shit. But Sammy knows this guy is a fucking lying motherfucker. Sammy admits he ratted. Mike won't admit he ratted. When you get 10 years and they knock it down to 3 for your cooperation, you're a rat. You are a rat. And when you mention your father's name while you're on the stand, you're a fucking rat. When you talk about the Colombo, no wonder why his dad okayed the hit on him. His dad, you know, they put the hit on him. And what? Okay. Why? Because he's not a rat? No, because he's a fucking rat. And what's sick is he's twisted this thing so bad that he's now, I know why he's hiding behind the church. I just figured it out. The thing at the end of the newspaper article said that the government will not allow him to make any money off the movie or the book or any of his criminal proceedings. He can't make any money off that. So what's he do? Opens a church and puts it under a nonprofit organization. They can't touch it. He's a fucking genius.
Wow.
He's a fucking genius, this guy. They can he can't write a book and all that shit, but he can put it under the church.
Wow.
And he has lied to people.
Yeah.
And anyone out there who's paying this guy, believing what he's saying, look at the link, and I'm going to read you the newspaper article in case you're you don't want to.
I don't know what I don't understand about him is why is he such denial? Why is just fucking you cooperated. You know what I'm saying? Sammy the Bull says it. The other a bunch of people say, yeah, I cooperated. Why such a denial? You know what I mean? He's or this is his way of catching heat. He knows people. If he lies, like for instance, we're doing research and finding out that he did cooperate. Yeah. You know what I mean? He says, and this is his way, and a way of him catching attention to creating content, and right. It's all about Michael Franzese. You know what I'm saying? Because I see a lot of comments. Do you guys people fighting for him and stuff like this? It's just just admit it.
I'll tell you what. In the beginning, when I first heard about him, I actually heard about him before YouTube when he was in the church, because my kung fu guys are really religious, and they try to go, when I got out of prison, oh, you should be like this guy. He turned his life around and all that. And I watched him once and I was like, okay. I wasn't here and there. It was nothing, but I knew about him a long time ago. So when the YouTube thing happened, I was like, all right, this guy's a Christian. I'm not gonna lay into him now. This guy's no Christian. You can't be on the stage preaching and lying like this to the people of the world. You can't do that. Taking their money. They're thinking, wait a minute, you're this and you're that. You did this. And these are all lies so he can take money from people. So everyone who's paid him for that group session or whatever the fuck they pay him for to go see him on stage, he's a liar and a cheat. And even the government said at the end,
yeah, he didn't even pay his rent.
So to get back at what the government said about him not being a witness is what happened was his ass got a 10-year sentence. They knocked it down to 3. And then while he's on probation, he's out committing more fraud, writing bad checks and shit.
Racketeering and shit like that.
Once he cooperated in the beginning with the 10 years going down to 3, he was a government witness, right? Right. And he testified, and then he gets out. Now he's breaking the law. Now the government, once you become a witness, you can't do that shit. And if you break the law, you're no longer a government witness. They can't use someone who's a criminal as a government witness. So the prosecution said to the judge, he is no longer considered a government witness because he keeps breaking the fucking law. Not because his testimony wasn't any good. He got 10 knocked down to 3. His testimony was fucking beautiful.
Right.
He's a lying, sneaky fucking rat.
He's good, and he hides behind his education, his good manners and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
And his
people
dad,
believe him.
And he constantly talks about his dad.
Every time that he opens up a statement, he says, "My dad taught me this," and I'm like,
"No, his dad didn't teach him anything. He should. That's an embarrassment. His dad was a stand-up guy. I know guys down here in Florida. You talk, hey, Sonny, that guy was he's a beast. All right, his dad was a good guy. Took it all the way. He was like a John Gotti. Took it all the way in. He didn't care. You ain't talking. Took it to the door, no matter what. And then he throws his dad's name every 5 minutes. My dad this, my dad that. No, your dad didn't teach you shit, because if he did, you wouldn't rat and you wouldn't be doing this shit. And Mike, Sammy says he's a racketeer. He's not a racketeer. He's a fucking con man. There's a big difference. There's a big difference. What he did with the fucking gas, that's a racketeer. What he's doing now, that's a fucking con artist. Yeah, you pray on the week. When you pray on the week,
he's taking money from innocent people from
praying on the week, and then he's using the church. Listen, now I know why Sammy doesn't want him praying for me. That motherfucker, he's praying to the devil. Shit, I don't want him praying for me either.
That's dangerous.
He's gonna pray and he's gonna get hit by lightning. I wouldn't want to be in the same room when he's praying. That's some bullshit. Oh man,
yeah, it's crazy. What does the article say? What does the article say?
Hold on, let me see. Have it there? Hold on, let me get my Carlos glasses on here. Whoa, look at me, brother. Right, okay. Hey, I couldn't find yours. Okay. You know where I got these? I got these at Home Depot.
Oh.
They're made out of rubber.
Oh, really?
Okay. Here we go. Now, listen, YouTube. Don't be mad at me. This is the New York Times. And guess what? I can guarantee you the New York Times is lying. They're not telling the truth. Of course, no. And the other 4 newspapers that reported the same thing at the same time, they're all lying. You know, you can't trust the news. All right, here we go. In magazines and television programs about him, Michael Franzese was portrayed as a wealthy, sophisticated mafia figure, a modern yuppie mobster who made millions of dollars in a complex fraud and lived a lavish life that included producing movies and hobnobbing with celebrities. But yesterday in federal courtroom in Brooklyn, prosecutors described him as a petty con man who bounced checks, obtained bank loans with false documents, and failed to pay the rent for his luxurious home in a posh Los Angeles suburb. It was another strange twist in the criminal career of the 40-year-old Michael Franzese, who has sold his life story for a book and a movie. In faded blue jeans and loose-fitting white sweater, he looked pale and thin as he was sentenced yesterday to 4 years in prison for violating his probation in a federal case from 1986. So he gets 4 years on his violation. All right.
Okay.
Mr. Franzese has led the government on a long Mary chase for a number of years. United States Attorney Andrew Maloney said after the court session, "We essentially view him as a con man." All right. So that's where that came from. Listen close. In the 1986 case, which involved the massive swindle to sell many millions of gallons of gasoline in the New York metropolitan area and without paying gasoline taxes, Mr. Franzese pled guilty to racketeering and tax fraud. An associate testified in detention hearing that Mr. Franzese had personally received $1 million a week at the height of the gasoline scheme. So somebody ratted on Mike first, obviously. Here's the fucking icing on the cake, people. All you fans, just don't kill the messenger. As a part of his 1986 plea agreement, Mr. Franzese received a 10-year prison sentence for racketeering and probation for tax fraud. He also agreed to pay the government more than $14 million in restitution and fines, saying he would get the money from investments in movies and real estate. Then, in 1989, he obtained an early release from prison after serving 3 years of his sentence. He admitted to being a captain in the Colombo crime family, agreed to cooperate with the authorities, and testified in a few cases. But he failed to pay the $14 million. In joining the Colombo family, Mr. Franzese followed in his father's footsteps. Not exactly, but they took sharply different paths afterward. His father, John Franzese, is completing a long prison sentence for bank robbery. Mike Franzese moved to California from Brookville, someone in fucking Louisiana or some shit. LI, where's LI? Long Island? Long Island, probably Long Island. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Acquired a new wife, renounced the mafia, and characterized himself as a born-again Christian. He dabbled in the movie industry, drove expensive sports cars, and moved from one costly home to another, but insisted he had no money for the government. When federal prosecutors went to California several months ago to confront him, he gave them a certified check for $100 and finally began. You gotta love him. He's making all this money, gives the government $100. A certified check for $100 and finally began paying installments of about $2,500 a month. But he was soon arrested in Los Angeles on fraud accusations and sent back to Brooklyn for violating probation. So 10 years, knocked down to 3. He ain't paying his fucking restitution, but he starts, and back to fucking prison for violation of probation. In yesterday's session, this is because this is a newspaper article, in federal district court, a prosecutor, Joseph D. McCann, urged Judge Eugene Nickerson to rescind Mr. Franzise's probation in the 1986 case and imprison him for the maximum term of 5 years. So now the prosecutor says, listen, this is a lying motherfucker, pull his probation, give him the maximum for the violation, 5 years in prison. A defense lawyer, Bruce Kelton, noted that Mr. Franzese admitted to 2 probation violations, but he said several other accusations were inaccurate and unfair. He accused the prosecutor of an undue fever to punish. Believe that? Speaking briefly for himself, Mr. Franzese apologized for violating probation, said he had not intended to commit frauds, and added, oh, this is, I can't believe I'm reading this part. I got to repeat this. I got seeds in my mouth. I'll never eat those fucking fruits again, Carlos. Okay. Speaking briefly for himself, Michael Franzese apologized for violating probation, said he had not intended to commit fraud, and added, there were a lot of things going on in my life. You remember he used that shit the other day when he was apologizing to Sammy the Bull. There's a lot of things going on in my life, and I just can't get my head. Da, da, da. I know he had some family issues, but it's the same fucking words, identical. A lot of things going on in my life, just like it's public record. I like what Sammy said. I want the non-public record. Remember when he said that?
Yeah.
I want the non-public record because you're lying, motherfucker. And Mike knows that this is sealed. This is sealed documents. You can't go to the courthouse and get that shit on it. But the newspapers, they aren't sealed. Right?
Right. When
Sammy testified, it was all over the newspaper. What? Sammy didn't say it's not, they didn't lie. Can't fucking lie. It's not, no. If they did, he could sue the shit out of them. Judge Nickerson imposed a 4-year sentence and told prosecutors to make sure, now this is another good one here because I remember this. Gave him a 4-year sentence and told prosecutors to make sure that security precautions were taken for transporting and imprisoning Mr. Franzese, whose life has been reportedly threatened because of his earlier cooperation with the authorities. Now, Mike always says how as he was in prison, he was on diesel therapy because they were messing with him. You remember, oh, I was on diesel therapy because I wouldn't cooperate. I was on, he always used he wouldn't cooperate. He was on diesel therapy. That's why he was in the hole. Now, here's the truth. He's on diesel therapy because he can't be on a compound. You got two things. Yeah. Either they put you in the hole for 4 years, which you can't do. He's not going to do 4 years in the hole. Or they constantly move you from prison to prison and he's on the bus. That's the only way for him to be free is on that fucking bus. Right. And the other thing is when he's on the bus doing his diesel therapy, what's he really doing? That's when people go back to court and testify. Because when you're on a compound, just so you two people need to know, I'm on the compound with Carlos. And suddenly they call Cayucci to, where do you go when you leave? R&D?
R&D.
R&D, Cayucci to R&D. Now, wait a minute, I got 10 years, I got fucking 8 to go, and they just call me to R&D.
R&D, something's up.
That's not good, unless one, they're transferring me, and then I won't come back to that prison. If I'm transferred, that could be. But when you leave that compound, and you come back to the same compound,
everybody knows what you went for.
Everyone knows. There's only one, there's about 3 things that can be going on. The biggest one when someone leaves is they cooperated. Right? They cooperated, they leave and they come back. And then suddenly their 10 years went down to 3, but they don't tell anybody. They don't say, oh, they still got 10 years. And then you wake up one morning and the guy's gone. Where'd he go? Oh, fucking bye, motherfuckers. Right? So they either go to cooperate. 2, you got another federal indictment where they pulled you out and they re-indicted you, or you got a state charge. I had a state charge. They pulled me out to go to Broward County, pled guilty. And the only thing Franzese did say that was true is when you go out and you got a state charge with a federal charge, because I had a state fucking trafficking charge, they ran a concurrent and coterminous. But I had to plead guilty to the state first. You had to plead guilty to the state first, and then the feds would run it concurrent and coterminous with the state. Don't go the other way around. No, you go for a fucking plead guilty on the feds, then the state would hit me with strike 3. I'd be fucked.
Exactly.
So that he told the truth. So when he says he's going on a diesel therapy, he wasn't doing or they do now. if you're fucked like a fucked up inmate, they'll put you on diesel therapy to punish you, but you don't come back to the prison. They send your ass to Elton, Ohio to freeze your balls off. They send you to fucking Yazoo, Mississippi. Remember Yazoo?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yazoo, you don't want to go to fucking Yazoo.
Everybody was scared of Yazoo.
Yazoo, oh man, I just people talk about Yazoo. I was like, damn, they were eating crawfish out of the mud. I was like, fuck that, I'm not going there.
Wow.
So he claims he was in the hole for a long time. He claims he was on diesel therapy because he was such a take these fucking. Am I done reading? Comment receiving book movie. Okay, so real quick. Later outside court, Mr. McCain said that as a result of his the recent fraud, Mr. Franzese was no longer considered to be a cooperating was not a federal witness. Mr. McCain said the government would seek to seize any income Mr. Franzese might receive from his book, movie, or other interest. The government would seek to seize any income from Mr. Franzese. Anything he'd receive from his book, movie, or other interest. I don't think they can seize a church. I don't think they can. A nonprofit organization, there's nothing to take. There's no profit. Right? And you know how that works? When you live in $1 million home and you want to pay the mortgage, it comes out of the church because they got to pay your living expenses. Exactly. Everything, your car, the church, your food, the church, because you're working for them, sort of, kind of.
Right.
And bam, it's the easiest way to get around nonprofit organization. You can write yourself everything you do is a write-off. And at the end of the year, if there's, $1,000 left, you pay the tax on that. Or you let it roll over to the next year. Unbelievable. Unfucking real. This fucking lying. Before I said I'd never sit down with Sammy the Bull, I said that before. I wouldn't go to the fucking same room with him. I would now. I would shake his fucking hand and you know what, Sammy, you did what you did. You said what you said. At least you owned it.
And he's straight up honest. You know what I mean?
He's honest. I mean, he's as honest as he's gonna get for what it is, right? He's as honest as he's gonna get. He ain't gonna get any honester than that. And yeah, that. Well, you're talking about rats and Omerta. I'm stuttering over here.
He got you nervous.
I'm nervous. My fucking heart's racing over here. Damn. I need to go get a drink.
Yeah. Wow.
So what do you think?
Nothing, man. Just that's my big thing is why the fuck does he? He's in denial, man. Why the fuck? Why are you lying to people's face? You know what I'm saying? Why are you taking advantage of all these people that follow you, that admire you?
Well, here's a good thing. Now, here's a point that when you look at the numbers, Sammy the Bull, Franzese 700,000, Sammy the Bull, I think is around 400, right? Sammy's not going to get the other 300,000 because Mike's got the church people. Because they're looking at him and going, okay, you used to do this, but now you're this way. So we'll follow you. We'll support you. Fine. He has a testimony, but they don't know that testimony is a big lie.
Yeah, he's got to come clean. He's got to.
But he's going to lose a lot of people. That trusted this guy, that put their faith in him. That what? Imagine converting to Christianity.
But if he's a true Christian, that's the right thing to do.
But no, the people that listened to him, that actually converted. But now I'm going to find out he's a fucking liar. What does that do to the religion? You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, that's one thing you don't play with is religion. You don't, it's like that one dude. You remember that guy? They were making millions. Him and his wife, was it Tammy Baker?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Ooh. I remember them.
You remember them?
Yeah.
And they was living on, they had fucking 100 acres off the church money.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then they got clobbered. They got 20 years for some shit.
They got some Colombians now from here that had over there windmill ranches in Weston, close to my house over there.
Right.
$5 million house estate, and they got a whole bunch of stuff all over the States and here in Colombia. I forgot their last name. Pastors also.
Some people, I tell you what.
I forgot their last name. They're Colombians though.
Last name is Mud.
Totally. Oh man, kid. Well, hopefully people open their eyes.
You know what? It's kind of sad, and it is sad in a way, because when you think of how many people he sat down in front of and lied, and when he gets on YouTube and he says, I'm not even thinking about the little things now, like we didn't make any money off the thing yet. Those little things, now that's nothing. But when you get in there and you just straight up lie, I didn't do this, I never ratted on me, I never cooperated against anybody, I never did this, I was on diesel therapy, lie after lie after lie after lie. Why? If he said from the beginning, I cooperated, I testified against this person, you know what happens? You know what happened is, when you tell one lie and then you get caught, and then you got to tell another one to cover that one up. He got snowballed. Snowballed is a very bad fucking thing, but I shouldn't have said that because that's nasty. That wasn't the right terminology there.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, yeah, one fucking lie caught to the next, now he dug his fucking, he dug his hole, man.
Yeah, when you come to notice, you're fucking into so damn deep that you don't know,
And this is why these little
advice to him, come clean, man. Just
well, here's the good thing. If he comes clean, I hope he does.
Yeah.
If he comes clean, then we got no one to fucking talk about anymore, Carlos.
We got plenty of stories, yo.
I know.
I just need to figure out how the fuck we can say them here.
That's the problem, because we didn't sign that fucking paper. Listen, there's shit we just can't even,
Can't even mention. That's the privilege of the guys that are coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I get to hear shit that.
Oh, the Colombia trip? Yeah, well, they're gonna hear some shit.
Yeah. How's that going?
That's good. We're set.
We're looking good.
We're set. We're good for Colombia, brother.
Okay.
Anyone wants to go to Colombia in the future?
How are we giving it away?
Huh?
How are we giving the trip away? Do we know yet?
Your fucking idea, so you got to think of something.
I got to do everything. I thought about it.
Yeah.
You figure out how to give it away.
Anyway, Mafia Made 1971 at Gmail. If you want to go to Colombia, just shoot me an email. Let us know when. We're going to be doing it often, right?
And tell them the other email, the one that we opened up. They want to get in contact, Mafia Made Colombia at
Mafia Made Colombia
gmail.com.
at Gmail. If you want to send him a fucking letter, not me, because he'll read it. He can practice his English.
Yeah, it's getting shady, huh?
No, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is Sunday. This is how long we've been doing this fucking thing?
About half an hour, I think.
Good. Sunday.
Okay.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.